Keep an eye out for the golden star that will appear on screen during the video. If you spot it, comment the time frame you saw it in. Get it right, and you'll get a shout out in our next video. Happy hunting! Steampunk Airship Adventures. The city of Gearhaven buzzed with electric anticipation as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the towering brass and copper structures. Steam-powered carriages clattered along cobblestone streets, ferrying the city's elite toward the gleaming airship dock where the unveiling of the Aurora would soon take place. The air was thick with the scent of coal and oil, mingling with the excitement that gripped every corner of the metropolis. Captain Alaric Stratos stood at the edge of the dock, his gaze fixed on the Aurora. The airship was a marvel of engineering, its sleek hull glinting under the dock's gas lamps. Alaric's heart swelled with pride as he admired the intricate designs and powerful engines. This vessel represented the pinnacle of Gearhaven's technological prowess, and it was his to command. "Quite the sight, isn't she?" Alaric's first mate, Iris Thorne, approached, her eyes shining with the same admiration. "Indeed," Alaric replied, his voice steady despite the turmoil in his mind. "She's our finest creation yet." As the city's mayor stepped up to the podium, the crowd's murmur quieted into an expectant hush. Alaric shifted his weight, feeling the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. The mayor's speech, extolling the virtues of progress and innovation, echoed through the air, but Alaric's attention was drawn to a shadowy figure moving through the crowd. Something isn't right. Before he could react, the figure lunged toward the mayor, a glint of steel catching the light. The crowd erupted into screams as the mayor crumpled to the ground, a crimson stain spreading across his chest. Alaric's instincts kicked in. He sprinted toward the stage, Iris close behind, but the assassin melted into the chaos, vanishing into the panicked throng. "Secure the area!" Alaric barked, his voice cutting through the din. "Find the assassin!" As his crew and the city guards scrambled to restore order, Alaric knelt beside the mayor. The man's eyes were wide with fear and pain, his breaths coming in shallow gasps. In his final moments, he clutched Alaric's arm, pressing a small, blood-stained note into his hand. "Protect the city," the mayor rasped before falling silent. Alaric unfolded the note, his heart pounding. It contained a single line of text: "The key is in the heart of the machine." What does this mean? Before he could ponder further, Iris called out, "Captain? Over here!" She stood near the edge of the dock, pointing toward a row of barrels. Alaric's eyes narrowed as he approached, spotting the telltale signs of sabotage. Wires and gears, expertly tampered with, lay hidden among the barrels, poised to cause catastrophic damage. "We need to get everyone clear of the dock," Alaric said, his mind racing. This was just a distraction. As he issued orders, the dock's security alarms blared to life. Steam vents hissed and gears ground, creating a cacophony that added to the chaos. The crowd surged, desperate to escape the impending danger, and Alaric's crew worked tirelessly to guide them to safety. Amidst the turmoil, Alaric's eyes met Iris's. This was no ordinary assassination. Someone wanted to cause maximum damage. Iris nodded, her expression grim. "And they'll try again. We need to find out who's behind this." Alaric agreed, his resolve hardening. The note in his pocket burned like a brand, a reminder of the mayor's dying words. Protecting Gearhaven would not be a simple task, but failure was not an option. He glanced back at the Aurora, her majestic form standing as a beacon of hope amid the chaos. "Get the crew ready," Alaric ordered. "We're taking the Aurora up tonight. We need to find answers before it's too late." As his crew prepared the airship for immediate departure, Alaric felt a mix of fear and determination. The city's future hung in the balance, and he was at the center of a storm. But he was not alone. With his loyal crew and the powerful Aurora, he would uncover the truth and protect the city he loved. The engines roared to life, and the Aurora lifted off, soaring into the night sky. Below, the lights of Gearhaven flickered like stars, a reminder of what was at stake. Alaric stood at the helm, ready to face whatever dangers lay ahead. The adventure had begun, and there was no turning back. The Aurora ascended into the night, its engines humming with a powerful, steady rhythm. Captain Alaric Stratos stood at the helm, his gaze fixed on the city below. Gearhaven's lights flickered like constellations, a sprawling labyrinth of brass and steam. The events of the evening played over in his mind, the image of the mayor's bloody form and the cryptic note burning into his thoughts. As the airship soared above the city, Alaric turned to his first mate, Iris Thorne. "We need answers, and we need them fast. Whoever orchestrated this attack won't stop at just one attempt." Iris nodded, her expression resolute. "Agreed, Captain. Our first step should be investigating the message. The key is in the heart of the machine. What do you think it means?" Alaric frowned, the words echoing in his mind. "It must be a reference to something on the Aurora. We need to search the ship thoroughly. But first, we should gather intelligence from the ground. Whoever planted those explosives might still be in the city." The Aurora descended to a secure docking point near the heart of Gearhaven. Alaric and Iris disembarked with a small team, their eyes scanning the shadows for any sign of trouble. The city's lower districts were a stark contrast to the opulence of the airship docks. Narrow alleys wound between towering buildings, their brick and metal facades shrouded in darkness. Steam vents hissed, and the scent of coal and oil permeated the air. "Stay sharp," Alaric whispered to his crew as they moved through the streets. "We're looking for anything out of the ordinary, suspicious characters, hidden explosives, anything that might give us a clue." As they navigated the maze-like alleys, Alaric's mind raced. What kind of person would orchestrate such a bold attack? The sheer audacity suggested a powerful adversary, someone with resources and influence. The image of the shadowy figure at the unveiling flashed through his mind. Whoever they were, they had blended into the chaos with unnerving ease. In a narrow alley, the team came across a group of workers unloading crates from a steam-powered cart. Alaric approached them cautiously. "Evening, gentlemen. Have you noticed anything unusual tonight? Anything out of place?" One of the workers, a burly man with soot-streaked clothes, glanced up warily. "Just the usual, Captain. Nothing out of the ordinary here." Alaric's instincts told him otherwise. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "If you know something, now's the time to speak up. The mayor was assassinated tonight, and the city's in danger." The man's eyes widened in shock. "Assassinated? By the gears, we saw someone moving through the alleys earlier. Didn't get a good look, but they were moving fast, like they knew the place well." "Which way did they go?" Alaric pressed. The worker pointed down a dark, twisting alley. "That way, but be careful. It's a maze down there." Alaric nodded his thanks and signaled his team to follow. The alley twisted and turned, the darkness growing thicker with each step. Every shadow seemed to conceal a potential threat, and Alaric's senses were on high alert. As they turned a corner, a figure darted across their path. Alaric's heart raced. "There! After them!" The chase was on. The team sprinted through the alleys, their footsteps echoing off the brick walls. The figure moved with incredible speed, but Alaric's determination kept him close. They burst into a wider street, and the figure glanced back, revealing a flash of a masked face. "Stop!" Alaric shouted, but the figure only increased their pace, leaping over obstacles with ease. Alaric and Iris pushed harder, their lungs burning as they closed the gap. The chase led them to an abandoned factory, its massive doors hanging ajar. The figure slipped inside, and Alaric followed without hesitation. Inside, the factory was a maze of rusting machinery and tangled pipes. Steam billowed from broken vents, creating an eerie, fog-like atmosphere. Alaric slowed his pace, scanning the shadows for any sign of the fugitive. Spread out, he ordered his team. We can't let them escape. As they moved deeper into the factory, a clanking sound echoed through the vast space. Alaric's pulse quickened. They were close. He motioned for silence and crept forward, his eyes narrowing in concentration. Suddenly, the fugitive lunged from the shadows, a knife glinting in the dim light. Alaric reacted instantly, blocking the attack and grappling with the assailant. They struggled fiercely, the clatter of their fight reverberating through the factory. With a powerful shove, Alaric disarmed the assailant and pinned them to the ground. He ripped off the mask, revealing a young woman with fierce, defiant eyes. "Who sent you?" Alaric demanded, his grip tightening. The woman spat at him, her expression filled with contempt. "You'll never stop us. Gearhaven will fall, and a new order will rise." Alaric's jaw clenched. "Who are you working for? What's their plan?" She sneered, refusing to answer. Iris approached, her eyes cold. "She's not going to talk willingly, Captain. We need to take her back to the Aurora for questioning." Alaric nodded, his mind racing with possibilities. "Agreed. Let's secure her and get back to the ship. We have a lot of questions, and not much time to find answers." As they escorted the prisoner back through the alleys, Alaric's thoughts turned to the cryptic note. "The key is in the heart of the machine." What could it mean? The words echoed in his mind, a puzzle that needed solving. One thing was clear: the stakes were higher than ever, and the safety of Gearhaven rested on their shoulders. Back aboard the Aurora, Alaric stood on the deck, staring out at the city below. The adventure had taken a dangerous turn, but he was ready for whatever came next. The fight for Gearhaven was just beginning, and he would not falter. The future of the city depended on it. The dim glow of the Aurora's deck lights cast long shadows as Captain Alaric Stratos stood at the ship's helm, gazing out over Gearhaven. The events of the night weighed heavily on his mind. He clenched his fists, feeling the tension in his muscles. The mayor's assassination and the cryptic note had thrown him into a maelstrom of uncertainty and danger. "Captain, we've secured the prisoner," Iris reported, her voice breaking through his thoughts. She stood at attention, her eyes reflecting both concern and determination. "Good," Alaric replied, turning to face her. "Bring her to the interrogation room. We need to find out what she knows." The airship's hum was a comforting constant as they moved through the corridors. The Aurora was not just a vessel but a marvel of innovation, with brass and copper fittings gleaming in the low light. Alaric's pride in the ship was tempered by the gravity of their mission. In the interrogation room, the captured woman sat restrained in a sturdy chair. Her eyes, filled with defiance, followed Alaric as he entered. He pulled up a chair and sat opposite her, studying her face. "We need to know who you are and who you're working for," Alaric began, his tone firm but not unkind. "The city's safety is at stake." She smirked, leaning back as much as her restraints allowed. "You think you can stop what's coming? Gearhaven's days are numbered." Alaric leaned forward, his gaze intense. "We can stop it if you help us. What's the plan? What do they want with the Aurora?" The woman's expression hardened. "You'll get nothing from me. Our cause is just, and you—" Her words were cut off by Iris stepping forward, her voice icy. "The lives of innocent people are at risk. If you have any humanity left, you'll tell us what we need to know." For a moment, a flicker of uncertainty crossed the woman's face, but she quickly masked it with defiance. Alaric sighed, realizing they wouldn't get immediate answers. "Lock her up for now," he ordered. "We'll try again later." As the guards took her away, Alaric and Iris exchanged glances. "She's committed," Iris said quietly. "But there might be a way to break through. We have to find it," Alaric responded. "Let's focus on the note. The key is in the heart of the machine. We need to search the Aurora thoroughly. Whatever it means, it's here." The crew assembled in the main engineering bay, the heart of the Aurora. The massive engines thrummed with power, their intricate gears and pistons a testament to Gearhaven's engineering prowess. Alaric addressed his team. "We're looking for anything unusual. This note implies there's something critical hidden within the ship. We must find it before our enemies do." Hours passed as the crew scoured every nook and cranny. Alaric's mind raced with possibilities. What could the note mean? Was it a literal key, or something more abstract? He examined the ship's schematics, looking for any hidden compartments or anomalies. In a secluded corner of the engine room, Iris called out, "Captain, over here!" Alaric hurried to her side. She pointed to an access panel behind a maze of pipes and wires. "This wasn't in the original design. It looks like it was added later." They pried the panel open, revealing a small compartment. Inside, nestled among the wires, was a small, ornate box. Alaric carefully removed it, his heart pounding with anticipation. "Could this be it?" Iris asked, her eyes wide. Alaric opened the box, revealing a complex mechanism inside. It appeared to be a miniature version of the Aurora's engine, intricately crafted with gears and levers. At its center was a small, glowing crystal. "The heart of the machine," Alaric murmured. "This must be what the note referred to." As they examined the device, Alaric's thoughts raced. What was its purpose? Why was it hidden? And most importantly, how was it connected to the plot against Gearhaven? Before they could ponder further, an alarm blared throughout the ship. The Aurora shook, and the lights flickered. Alaric's communicator crackled to life. "Captain, we're under attack! Multiple airships approaching from the west." Alaric's mind snapped into focus. "All hands to battle stations. Prepare for evasive maneuvers." The crew sprang into action, their training evident in their swift, coordinated movements. Alaric and Iris raced to the bridge, the box with the mysterious mechanism tucked safely under Alaric's arm. On the bridge, Alaric took command. "Iris, take the helm. We need to outmaneuver them. Engineering, divert power to the shields and engines. Prepare the cannons." The Aurora lurched as it changed course, the city of Gearhaven now a distant backdrop. Alaric watched the enemy airships closing in, their sleek forms cutting through the night sky. "We won't let them take us down," Alaric vowed. "For Gearhaven." As the first volley of cannon fire erupted, the Aurora danced through the sky, a testament to human ingenuity and the indomitable spirit of its crew. The fight for Gearhaven was far from over, but Alaric knew they would face whatever came next with unwavering resolve. The night sky was a tapestry of chaos and fire as the Aurora engaged the approaching enemy airships. The staccato rhythm of cannon fire punctuated the air, and the Aurora weaved through the barrage with an agility that belied its size. Captain Alaric Stratos stood at the helm, his mind a flurry of calculations and commands. "Helm, hard to port!" Alaric shouted, his eyes fixed on an incoming volley. Iris Thorne responded instantly, her hands moving deftly across the controls. The Aurora tilted, narrowly avoiding the explosive shells that streaked past. "Return fire!" Alaric commanded. The ship's cannons roared in response, their thunderous booms reverberating through the hull. Alaric watched as one of the enemy airships took a direct hit, flames erupting from its side. "Good shot!" Iris exclaimed, a fierce grin on her face. The battle was far from over, but the sight of their enemy faltering provided a much-needed boost to morale. Suddenly, the communicator crackled with a voice Alaric had not heard in years. "Stratos, always in the thick of things, aren't you?" The voice was smooth, with a hint of mockery. Alaric's blood ran cold. "Evelyn," he muttered, recognizing the voice of Lady Evelyn Blackwood. She had been a formidable adversary in the past, and it seemed she had returned with a vengeance. "Miss me, Captain?" Evelyn's voice taunted through the communicator. "You always were a thorn in my side. But tonight, Gearhaven will fall, and you along with it." Alaric's jaw tightened. Not while I draw breath, Evelyn. You'll find we're not so easy to bring down. Evelyn laughed, a chilling sound that echoed through the bridge. We'll see about that. My new allies have brought gifts. Do enjoy the show. As the communication cut off, Alaric turned to Iris. Keep an eye out for anything unusual. She's up to something. Moments later, a new wave of enemy airships appeared on the horizon, these larger and more heavily armed. They bore the insignia of a foreign power, one that had long been at odds with Gearhaven. Evelyn's not alone, Iris observed grimly. She's brought reinforcements. Alaric nodded, his mind racing. Engineering, we need more power to the shields. And someone get me a damage report on those new ships. As the battle raged on, Alaric felt a renewed determination. He would not let Evelyn's machinations bring Gearhaven to its knees. The Aurora was his ship, and his crew trusted him to lead them to victory. In the heart of the engineering bay, the crew worked tirelessly to keep the ship's systems running. Sparks flew as repairs were made on the fly, and the air was thick with the scent of oil and sweat. Captain, we've identified a weak point in their new ships, came a voice over the communicator. It was Alara, the ship's chief engineer. Their aft armor is thinner. If we can get behind them, we can do some real damage. Alaric seized on the information. Iris, plot a course to flank those ships. Let's give them a taste of their own medicine. The Aurora swung wide, its engines straining as it maneuvered into position. The enemy airships, focused on their frontal assault, were slow to react. Fire at will, Alaric ordered. The Aurora's cannons roared once more, and this time the shots found their mark. Explosions rocked the enemy vessels, their hulls buckling under the assault. One by one, the enemy airships began to falter. Alaric pressed the advantage, directing his crew with precision and determination. The tide of battle was turning, but he knew Evelyn would not give up easily. As the Aurora dealt the final blows to the last of the enemy reinforcements, a single, heavily armored ship broke through the smoke and flames. Its sleek design and formidable weaponry marked it as Evelyn's flagship. Stratos, our dance isn't over yet, Evelyn's voice crackled through the communicator. Prepared to face me. Alaric's eyes narrowed. All hands, prepare for the final engagement. This ends tonight. The Aurora and Evelyn's flagship closed in on each other, their cannons blazing. The night sky was alight with fire and fury as the two ships clashed. Alaric could see Evelyn through the windows of her bridge, her cold eyes locked on him. Target their engines, Alaric commanded. We need to disable her ship. Cannon fire erupted from the Aurora, and Alaric watched as several shots struck true. Evelyn's flagship shuddered, smoke pouring from its engines. Evelyn, it's over! Alaric shouted into the communicator. Surrender now, and I might show mercy. Evelyn's laugh was harsh and defiant. Mercy? From you? Never. This isn't over, Stratos. It never will be. With a final, defiant act, Evelyn's ship detonated its remaining munitions. The explosion rocked the Aurora, sending the crew sprawling. Alaric held on to the helm, his eyes fixed on the wreckage of Evelyn's ship. Damage report, he called out, his voice steady despite the chaos. We're holding together, Captain, Iris reported, relief evident in her voice. The worst of it is over. Alaric nodded, his gaze still on the smoldering remains of Evelyn's flagship. Prepare for a full systems check. And someone see if there's any sign of Evelyn among the wreckage. As the crew set to work, Alaric allowed himself a moment to breathe. The battle had been fierce, but they had prevailed. Gearhaven was safe, for now. Standing on the deck of the Aurora, Alaric stared out at the night sky. The adventure was far from over, but with his crew by his side, he knew they would face whatever came next with courage and resolve. The fight for Gearhaven had only just begun. The city of Gearhaven buzzed with electric anticipation as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the towering brass and copper structures. Steam-powered carriages clattered along cobblestone streets, ferrying the city's elite toward the gleaming airship dock where the unveiling of the Aurora would soon take place. The air was thick with the scent of coal and oil, mingling with the excitement that gripped every corner of the metropolis. Captain Alaric Stratos stood at the edge of the dock, his gaze fixed on the Aurora. The airship was a marvel of engineering, its sleek hull glinting under the dock's gas lamps. Alaric's heart swelled with pride as he admired the intricate designs and powerful engines. This vessel represented the pinnacle of Gearhaven's technological prowess, and it was his to command. "Quite the sight, isn't she?" Alaric's first mate, Iris Thorne, approached, her eyes shining with the same admiration. "Indeed," Alaric replied, his voice steady despite the turmoil in his mind. "She's our finest creation yet." As the city's mayor stepped up to the podium, the crowd's murmur quieted into an expectant hush. Alaric shifted his weight, feeling the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. The mayor's speech, extolling the virtues of progress and innovation, echoed through the air, but Alaric's attention was drawn to a shadowy figure moving through the crowd. Something isn't right. Before he could react, the figure lunged toward the mayor, a glint of steel catching the light. The crowd erupted into screams as the mayor crumpled to the ground, a crimson stain spreading across his chest. Alaric's instincts kicked in. He sprinted toward the stage, Iris close behind, but the assassin melted into the chaos, vanishing into the panicked throng. "Secure the area!" Alaric barked, his voice cutting through the din. "Find the assassin!" As his crew and the city guards scrambled to restore order, Alaric knelt beside the mayor. The man's eyes were wide with fear and pain, his breaths coming in shallow gasps. In his final moments, he clutched Alaric's arm, pressing a small, blood-stained note into his hand. "Protect the city," the mayor rasped before falling silent. Alaric unfolded the note, his heart pounding. It contained a single line of text: "The key is in the heart of the machine." What does this mean? Before he could ponder further, Iris called out, "Captain? Over here!" She stood near the edge of the dock, pointing toward a row of barrels. Alaric's eyes narrowed as he approached, spotting the telltale signs of sabotage. Wires and gears, expertly tampered with, lay hidden among the barrels, poised to cause catastrophic damage. "We need to get everyone clear of the dock," Alaric said, his mind racing. This was just a distraction. As he issued orders, the dock's security alarms blared to life. Steam vents hissed and gears ground, creating a cacophony that added to the chaos. The crowd surged, desperate to escape the impending danger, and Alaric's crew worked tirelessly to guide them to safety. Amidst the turmoil, Alaric's eyes met Iris's. This was no ordinary assassination. Someone wanted to cause maximum damage. Iris nodded, her expression grim. "And they'll try again. We need to find out who's behind this." Alaric agreed, his resolve hardening. The note in his pocket burned like a brand, a reminder of the mayor's dying words. Protecting Gearhaven would not be a simple task, but failure was not an option. He glanced back at the Aurora, her majestic form standing as a beacon of hope amid the chaos. "Get the crew ready," Alaric ordered. "We're taking the Aurora up tonight. We need to find answers before it's too late." As his crew prepared the airship for immediate departure, Alaric felt a mix of fear and determination. The city's future hung in the balance, and he was at the center of a storm. But he was not alone. With his loyal crew and the powerful Aurora, he would uncover the truth and protect the city he loved. The engines roared to life, and the Aurora lifted off, soaring into the night sky. Below, the lights of Gearhaven flickered like stars, a reminder of what was at stake. Alaric stood at the helm, ready to face whatever dangers lay ahead. The adventure had begun, and there was no turning back. The Aurora cut through the morning sky, its engines humming with a steady rhythm. Captain Alaric Stratos stood on the bridge, watching the landscape of Gearhaven grow larger as they approached. The city, with its towering brass structures and intricate network of steam pipes, glinted under the rising sun. Alaric's mind was a torrent of thoughts, but one thing was clear: this brief respite was the calm before another storm. "Captain, we're approaching the docking port," Iris reported, her eyes scanning the control panel. "All systems are green." "Good. Let's get ready to dock," Alaric replied, his voice firm. "We need to debrief and prepare for whatever comes next." The Aurora smoothly descended towards the bustling docks of Gearhaven. Workers below hurried to and fro, preparing to receive the airship. As they docked, Alaric gathered his key officers for a quick meeting. "Alara, I want a full report on the damage sustained and what we need to get the Aurora back to full strength," Alaric instructed, turning to his chief engineer. "Already working on it, Captain," Alara responded, her determination evident. "Iris, I need you to coordinate with the city authorities. Evelyn's followers may still be at large, and we need to root them out before they can cause more trouble." "Consider it done," Iris replied, her voice steady and confident. With their tasks set, the crew disembarked, ready to tackle their respective missions. Alaric, accompanied by Iris and a small security detail, made his way to the central command of Gearhaven. The city was on high alert, its citizens nervous and watchful after the recent attacks. As they walked through the streets, Alaric observed the tension in the air. Gearhaven's once bustling markets were subdued, and the usual chatter was replaced by hushed whispers. The sight of armed guards patrolling the streets added to the sense of unease. "People are scared," Iris remarked, her eyes scanning the surroundings. "We need to restore their confidence." "We will," Alaric assured her. "But first, we need to find out if Evelyn had any backup plans." They reached the command center, a fortified building brimming with activity. Inside, city officials and military personnel were deep in discussion. Alaric was quickly ushered into a meeting room where Commander Harlan, the head of Gearhaven's defense, awaited. "Captain Stratos, it's good to see you," Harlan greeted, his expression serious. "We've been monitoring the situation closely. What can you tell us about Evelyn's plans?" Evelyn had foreign allies and significant resources, Alaric began, detailing the events of the battle and Evelyn's capture. "We need to be prepared for any retaliatory attacks or hidden cells within the city." Harlan nodded. "We'll increase patrols and security checkpoints. We've also intercepted some communications that suggest there might be a sabotage attempt on our power grid. Do you have any leads on who might be behind it?" Alaric asked, leaning forward. "Not yet, but we're working on it," Harlan replied. "We'll need your expertise and the Aurora's capabilities to help secure the city." "You have our full support," Alaric confirmed. "We'll start by investigating the power grid and ensuring it's protected." With the plan in place, Alaric and his team left the command center. The city was a maze of potential threats, and they needed to be vigilant. As they made their way towards the central power station, Iris spoke up. "Do you think Evelyn might have planted agents within our own ranks?" "It's possible," Alaric admitted. "We need to be cautious. Trust is a precious commodity right now." They reached the power station, a massive facility that supplied energy to all of Gearhaven. The hum of machinery and the hiss of steam filled the air. Alaric's team spread out, inspecting every corner for signs of tampering or sabotage. "Captain, over here!" one of the engineers called out, pointing to a suspicious device attached to one of the main conduits. Alaric approached, examining the device closely. It was a crude bomb, designed to disrupt the power supply and cause widespread chaos. "Disarm it carefully," he instructed. "There might be more." As the team worked to disarm the bomb, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. "We've got company," Iris said, her hand on her weapon. Armed figures burst into the room, opening fire. Alaric and his team took cover, returning fire with precision. The sound of gunfire echoed through the station as the two sides clashed. "Protect the engineers!" Alaric shouted, taking aim at one of the attackers. "We can't let them sabotage the grid." The battle was intense, but Alaric's team fought with determination. One by one, the attackers were taken down, their plan to disrupt Gearhaven foiled. As the last of the saboteurs fell, the room fell silent except for the hum of the machinery. "Status report," Alaric demanded, looking around. "Bomb is disarmed, and the attackers have been neutralized," Iris confirmed. "But we need to stay on high alert. There could be more of them out there." Alaric nodded, his mind already racing ahead. "We'll sweep the entire facility and ensure it's secure. Then we need to track down whoever orchestrated this attack." As they secured the power station, Alaric felt a surge of resolve. The battle for Gearhaven was far from over, but with every challenge, they grew stronger. The city depended on them, and Alaric was determined to protect it at all costs. Back on the Aurora, Alaric stood on the deck, watching the sun rise over Gearhaven. The city had survived another day, but the fight was far from over. With his crew by his side, he was ready to face whatever came next. The adventure continued, and Alaric Stratos would see it through to the end. As the Aurora cruised back towards the central docks of Gearhaven, Captain Alaric Stratos found a moment to breathe. The recent victory over Evelyn's forces was a significant one, but it left him wary of what might come next. Gearhaven's future hung in a precarious balance, and Alaric knew the fight was far from over. "Captain, incoming transmission from Commander Harlan," Iris reported from her station. "Patch it through," Alaric replied, turning his attention to the communication console. Harlan's gruff voice filled the bridge. "Stratos, we've picked up chatter about a hidden network of saboteurs operating within the city. We believe they're planning another major attack." Alaric's eyes narrowed. "Do we have any leads on their location?" "We've managed to trace some of their communications to the old industrial district," Harlan explained. "I need you to take a team and investigate. We can't afford another attack like the one on the power grid." "Understood. We'll head there immediately," Alaric confirmed, ending the transmission. Alaric quickly assembled the team, including Iris and a few of the best security officers on board. "We're heading into the old industrial district," he briefed them. "Expect resistance. Stay sharp and watch each other's backs." The team disembarked from the Aurora and made their way through the bustling streets of Gearhaven. The old industrial district was a stark contrast to the rest of the city. Once the heart of Gearhaven's manufacturing prowess, it now lay in disrepair, a labyrinth of abandoned factories and warehouses. "This place gives me the creeps," one of the officers muttered, scanning the deserted streets. "Stay focused," Alaric advised. "We're looking for any signs of activity. Keep your weapons ready." As they ventured deeper into the district, they came across an old, dilapidated warehouse. Faint voices could be heard from within, and the flicker of lights suggested recent occupation. "This is it," Alaric said, signaling for the team to move in. "Prepare to breach." The team positioned themselves around the entrance. On Alaric's command, they burst through the doors, weapons drawn. Inside, they found a group of individuals huddled around a table covered in maps and communication devices. The saboteurs looked up in shock, scrambling for their weapons. "Hold it right there!" Alaric shouted. "Drop your weapons and surrender!" A tense standoff ensued, but the saboteurs were outnumbered and outgunned. Reluctantly, they dropped their weapons and raised their hands. "Tie them up and secure the area," Alaric ordered. "We need to find out what they were planning." As the team restrained the saboteurs, Alaric and Iris examined the table. The maps detailed various locations across Gearhaven, each marked with potential targets for sabotage. A series of coded messages lay scattered among the documents. "Looks like they were planning multiple attacks," Iris said, her voice grim. "They were going to hit the power grid again, along with several key infrastructure points." We need to decode these messages and find out who else is involved, Alaric said, turning to one of the restrained saboteurs. Who's leading this operation? The saboteur remained silent, glaring defiantly at Alaric. Iris stepped forward, her eyes cold. You can either cooperate and help us prevent more bloodshed, or you can stay silent and watch your comrades fall. The threat hung heavy in the air, and after a tense moment, the saboteur spoke. The leader goes by the name Phantom. He's been orchestrating these attacks from the shadows. We were supposed to meet him tonight at a safe house near the docks. Good. Now you're going to help us find him, Alaric said, motioning for the team to prepare for the next phase. Leaving a contingent to secure the warehouse, Alaric led the rest of the team towards the docks. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the city as they approached the designated meeting point. The docks were eerily quiet, the usual hustle and bustle replaced by an uneasy stillness. Alaric's team moved with caution, their eyes scanning every corner for signs of an ambush. There, Iris whispered, pointing to a secluded building near the water's edge. That's the safe house. Alaric nodded, signaling for the team to move in. They approached the building silently, positioning themselves around the entrances. On Alaric's signal, they burst through the doors, weapons at the ready. Inside, they found a lone figure standing amidst an array of communication equipment. The figure turned, revealing a mask that concealed their features. Phantom, I presume, Alaric said, leveling his weapon at the figure. It's over. Surrender now. Phantom laughed, a cold, mocking sound. You think you've won, Stratos? This is just the beginning. Before Alaric could react, Phantom pressed a button on a remote control. Explosions rocked the docks as hidden charges detonated, sending shockwaves through the area. Take cover! Alaric shouted, diving behind a crate as debris rained down. In the chaos, Phantom made a dash for a hidden exit. Alaric sprang to his feet, pursuing the fleeing saboteur through the maze of the docks. The chase was intense, with Phantom weaving through containers and leaping over obstacles. Stop! Alaric commanded, firing a warning shot. Phantom ignored the order, disappearing into a narrow alley. Alaric followed, his heart pounding with determination. He could hear Phantom's footsteps echoing through the alley, drawing him closer. At the end of the alley, Phantom turned, drawing a concealed weapon. Alaric reacted instinctively, firing a shot that disarmed the saboteur. He closed the distance, tackling Phantom to the ground. It's over, Alaric said, pinning Phantom down. You're not going anywhere. Phantom struggled briefly before going limp, their breath heavy. You think capturing me will stop this? Gearhaven is doomed. There are others who will continue the fight. We'll see about that, Alaric replied, securing Phantom's hands. For now, you're coming with us. As they returned to the docks, Alaric felt a mixture of relief and anticipation. They had thwarted another attack and captured a key figure in the network. But the fight for Gearhaven was far from over. Back on the Aurora, Alaric debriefed his team, their spirits lifted by the victory. We've made progress today, but we can't let our guard down. There are still threats out there, and we need to be ready. As the Aurora soared through the night sky, Alaric stood on the deck, looking out over the city. The lights of Gearhaven twinkled below, a reminder of what they were fighting for. With his crew by his side, Alaric was prepared to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The adventure continued, and Alaric Stratos would see it through to the end. The Aurora glided smoothly through the night, the lights of Gearhaven twinkling far below. Captain Alaric Stratos stood on the deck, the cool night air a welcome contrast to the tension of the recent events. They had captured Phantom, but Alaric knew that the threat to Gearhaven was far from over. Captain, Phantom is secured in the brig, Iris reported, joining Alaric on the deck. But there's something you need to see. Alaric turned to Iris, curiosity piqued. What is it? Phantom had this on him, Iris said, handing Alaric a small, intricately carved box. It's locked, but it seems important. Alaric examined the box, noting the delicate craftsmanship and the complex locking mechanism. We'll need Alara to open this. Let's head to the workshop. In the workshop, Alara carefully inspected the box. This is quite the puzzle, Captain. It's designed to be opened only with a specific sequence. Give me a moment. As Alara worked, Alaric and Iris discussed their next steps. Phantom mentioned others would continue the fight, Iris said. We need to find out who they are and stop them before they strike again. I agree, Alaric replied. Phantom's network might be larger than we anticipated. We need to be thorough. A soft click interrupted their conversation. Alara had managed to unlock the box. She opened it, revealing a set of documents and a small, mechanical device that glowed faintly. What is this? Alaric asked, taking the documents and skimming through them. They were detailed plans, outlining various sabotage missions and encrypted communications. This device seems to be a communication tool, Alara said, examining it closely. It might allow us to intercept their messages. Good work, Alara, Alaric said, taking the device. Let's see if we can use this to our advantage. Back on the bridge, Alaric activated the device. It hummed to life, displaying a series of encrypted messages. Iris, can you decode these? On it, Iris replied, her fingers flying over the controls. After a few tense moments, the messages began to make sense. They're planning a coordinated attack on multiple key locations in Gearhaven. Alaric's jaw tightened. We need to act fast. Alert Commander Harlan and mobilize our forces. We're going to stop this before it starts. The Aurora descended towards Gearhaven, its engines humming with purpose. Alaric and his team prepared for another battle, their determination unwavering. They coordinated with city defenses, deploying teams to each potential target. As the night deepened, Alaric's communicator buzzed. Captain, we've detected suspicious activity near the main water supply, reported one of the ground teams. On our way, Alaric responded, rallying his team. They rushed towards the water supply, a vital resource for the entire city. The thought of it being sabotaged spurred them on. They arrived to find a group of saboteurs planting explosives around the facility. Engage! Alaric shouted, and his team sprang into action. Gunfire erupted as the two sides clashed. Alaric moved with precision, taking down enemies while ensuring the safety of his team. The saboteurs fought fiercely, but the element of surprise was gone. Disarm those explosives! Alaric ordered, covering his team as they worked. The tension was palpable, every second ticking by with dangerous urgency. Iris and Alara worked quickly, defusing the explosives with practiced skill. Got it! Iris called out as the last bomb was safely disarmed. Good work, everyone, Alaric said, breathing a sigh of relief. Secure the area and ensure there are no more threats. As they regrouped, Alaric's communicator buzzed again. Captain, we've intercepted another message. There's an urgent meeting of the saboteurs at an old warehouse in the Western District. Harlan's voice crackled through. We're on it, Alaric responded. Let's move. The Aurora soared through the night, heading towards the Western District. They landed near the warehouse, approaching with caution. Alaric's team moved silently, surrounding the building before breaching the doors. Inside, they found a large group of conspirators, deep in discussion. The surprise on their faces was evident as Alaric's team stormed in. Gearhaven security! You're all under arrest! Alaric shouted. A fierce battle erupted, the saboteurs fighting desperately to escape. Alaric and his team pressed on, their training and coordination giving them the upper hand. One by one, the conspirators were subdued. As the dust settled, Alaric stood amidst the captured saboteurs, his expression resolute. This ends now, he said, his voice echoing through the warehouse. Gearhaven will not fall to your treachery. Back on the Aurora, Alaric debriefed his team. They had dismantled a significant part of the saboteur network, but he knew there were still threats lurking in the shadows. "We've made great strides today," Alaric addressed his crew. "But our work is far from over. We must remain vigilant and ready for whatever comes next." The aurora soared into the dawn, the first light of morning casting a hopeful glow over Gearhaven. Alaric stood on the deck, his heart filled with determination. With his crew by his side and the city he loved at stake, he knew they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. The adventure continued, and Alaric Stratos was ready to see it through to the end. The first light of dawn painted the sky with hues of pink and orange as the aurora hovered above Gearhaven, casting long shadows over the city. Captain Alaric Stratos felt a surge of hope mingled with the ever-present anticipation of another conflict. They had made significant progress, but he knew their enemies were far from defeated. "Captain, Commander Harlan is requesting an urgent meeting," Iris reported, her tone reflecting the gravity of the situation. "Patch him through," Alaric said, turning to the communication console. Harlan's voice crackled to life, tense but controlled. "Stratos, we've received intel about a major assault planned by the remaining saboteurs. They're targeting the central power core of Gearhaven." Alaric's eyes widened. The central power core was the lifeblood of the city, supplying energy to every corner of Gearhaven. "What's their timeline?" "Within the next few hours," Harlan replied. "We need to move fast to secure the area and prevent the attack." "We're on our way," Alaric confirmed, ending the transmission. He turned to his crew, his voice firm. "We have a critical mission. Prepare for immediate departure to the central power core." The aurora roared to life, its engines powering up as it ascended higher into the sky. Alaric stood at the helm, his mind focused on the impending battle. The power core was heavily fortified, but any breach could have catastrophic consequences for the entire city. As they approached the power core, Alaric addressed his team. "This is it, everyone. We've faced many challenges, but this might be the most critical. We must protect the power core at all costs. Gearhaven depends on us." The aurora descended near the fortified structure of the power core, a massive complex pulsating with energy. Alaric and his team disembarked, immediately meeting with the station guards and engineers. "Captain Stratos, we've reinforced security, but we're stretched thin," reported Chief Engineer Mallory, her face lined with worry. "We're here to help," Alaric assured her. "What's the current status?" "Several suspicious activities have been reported around the perimeter," Mallory said. "We believe the saboteurs are already here, preparing for their attack." Alaric nodded. "We'll divide into teams. Iris, take a squad and secure the north entrance. Alara, you're with me. We'll cover the south." The teams moved with precision, spreading out to cover the sprawling complex. The tension in the air was palpable, every shadow a potential threat. Alaric and Alara advanced cautiously towards the south entrance, their weapons ready. Suddenly, a series of explosions erupted around the perimeter, shaking the ground beneath them. "They're making their move!" Alaric shouted. "All units, engage!" Gunfire echoed through the complex as the saboteurs launched their assault. Alaric's team engaged the attackers, their training and discipline evident in their coordinated defense. Alaric fired at an approaching saboteur, taking him down with a precise shot. "Alara, secure the entrance! We can't let them breach the core!" Alaric ordered, his voice cutting through the chaos. Alara nodded, directing her team to reinforce their position. Alaric moved forward, his eyes scanning for any sign of the saboteur leaders. The battle raged on, intense and unrelenting. The saboteurs fought with desperation, knowing this was their last chance to cripple Gearhaven. "Captain, we've got movement on the east side," Iris's voice came through the communicator. "They're trying to flank us. Hold them off, Iris! We can't let them through!" Alaric responded, his resolve unwavering. The fighting grew fiercer, every corner of the complex a battlefield. Alaric pushed forward, his determination driving him through the thick of the conflict. He spotted a group of saboteurs planting explosives near a critical conduit. "Not on my watch," Alaric muttered, taking aim. He fired, hitting one of the saboteurs and causing the others to scatter. As he moved to disarm the explosives, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was a masked saboteur, their eyes filled with cold determination. They lunged at Alaric, a knife glinting in their hand. Alaric dodged the attack, countering with a swift strike. The saboteurs stumbled, but quickly regained their footing, attacking with renewed ferocity. Alaric parried and countered, the two locked in a deadly dance of skill and determination. With a final, decisive move, Alaric disarmed the saboteur and subdued them. "Who are you working for?" he demanded, his voice cold. The saboteur glared at him, silent and defiant. Alaric knew he wouldn't get answers easily. "Take him to the brig," he ordered one of his officers. "We'll deal with him later." Returning to the task at hand, Alaric carefully disarmed the explosives, his hands steady and precise. He breathed a sigh of relief as the last wire was cut. "Explosives neutralized," he reported. "Status on the other fronts?" "We're holding, Captain," Iris responded. "But they're persistent. We need to wrap this up quickly." Alaric regrouped with his team, pushing forward to the heart of the power core. The final wave of saboteurs was desperate, their resistance fierce. But Alaric's team was relentless, their training and resolve proving superior. As the last of the saboteurs were subdued, Alaric took a moment to survey the scene. The power core was secure, and Gearhaven was safe, at least for now. "Good work, everyone," Alaric said, his voice filled with pride. "We've done it!" Back on the Aurora, Alaric gathered his team for a debrief. "We've faced incredible challenges, but we've prevailed. Gearhaven owes its safety to each and every one of you." The crew cheered, their spirits lifted by the victory. Alaric felt a sense of satisfaction, but he knew the fight was far from over. The saboteur network had been dealt a significant blow, but there were still threats lurking in the shadows. "We must remain vigilant," Alaric addressed his crew. "The city depends on us. We've made great strides, but our work continues." As the Aurora soared into the clear morning sky, Alaric stood on the deck, gazing out over the city he had sworn to protect. The adventure was far from over, but with his loyal crew by his side, he knew they would face whatever challenges lay ahead with unwavering resolve. The heart of Gearhaven beat strong, and Alaric Stratos was ready to defend it to the end. The Aurora soared into the clear morning sky, the city of Gearhaven sprawling below like a glimmering jewel. Captain Alaric Stratos stood on the deck, his eyes scanning the horizon. The city was secure for now, but the threat of the saboteur network still loomed large. "Captain, we've intercepted a distress signal from the Western District," Iris reported, her voice urgent. "It's coming from a civilian transport. They're under attack. Set a course immediately," Alaric ordered. "All hands prepare for engagement." The Aurora turned swiftly, its powerful engines roaring as it sped towards the Western District. The team readied themselves, weapons checked and resolve steeled. Alaric knew they had to be quick and decisive. As they approached the coordinates of the distress signal, the scene below came into view. A large civilian transport was surrounded by smaller, heavily armed airships. The attackers were firing indiscriminately, clearly intent on causing as much chaos as possible. "Engage the enemy ships," Alaric commanded. "Protect that transport." The Aurora's cannons roared to life, unleashing a barrage of fire upon the enemy airships. The sky lit up with explosions as the projectiles found their marks. Alaric maneuvered the Aurora with precision, ensuring they maintained a tactical advantage. "Iris, take out their engines," Alaric directed. "We need to disable them, not just destroy them." Iris's hands flew over the controls, targeting the enemy airship's engines. The Aurora's cannons fired again, precise and devastating. Several enemy ships began to falter, their movements sluggish as their engines failed. "Good work," Alaric said, his eyes never leaving the battlefield. "Prepare to board the lead ship. We need to capture their commander." A boarding party was quickly assembled, and the Aurora closed in on the largest enemy vessel. Grappling hooks were fired, securing the two ships together. Alaric led the charge, leaping onto the enemy deck with his team right behind him. The deck erupted into chaos as the two sides clashed. Alaric moved with deadly efficiency, his sword flashing as he cut through the enemy ranks. The air was thick with the sounds of battle, the clash of steel and the roar of gunfire. "There!" Iris shouted, pointing towards a figure directing the enemy forces. "That's their commander!" Alaric pushed forward, his determination unwavering. He engaged the enemy commander, their blades meeting in a flurry of strikes. The commander was skilled, but Alaric's training and experience gave him the edge. With a final, decisive strike, Alaric disarmed the commander and pinned him to the deck. "It's over," Alaric said, his voice firm. "Surrender, and you might live." The commander glared at him, breathing heavily. "You think this will end it? There are more of us. Gearhaven will fall. Not while I'm here to protect it," Alaric replied, securing the commander's hands. "Iris, get him back to the Aurora. We need to interrogate him." As they returned to the Aurora, the remaining enemy airships began to retreat, their assault thwarted. Alaric watched them flee, his mind already on the next steps. Back on board, the captured commander was taken to the brig. Alaric and Iris interrogated him, seeking any information that could help dismantle the saboteur network once and for all. "Who are you working for?" Alaric demanded, his voice cold. The commander smirked. "You'll get nothing from me. Stubbornness won't help you," Iris said, her eyes narrowing. "You've already lost. The sooner you cooperate, the better it will be for you." The commander's resolve wavered, and he finally spoke. "The main force is planning a full-scale assault on Gearhaven's central district. They're already on their way." Alaric's heart raced. "When will they arrive?" "By nightfall," the commander admitted. "They aim to destroy the heart of the city." Alaric turned to Iris. "We need to mobilize immediately. Alert Commander Harlan and prepare the Aurora for battle." The crew sprang into action, their urgency reflected in every movement. The Aurora rose into the sky once more, heading towards the central district of Gearhaven. The sun was beginning to set, casting a golden hue over the city as they arrived. The central district was the beating heart of Gearhaven, filled with bustling markets, towering structures, and the city's main governmental buildings. If the saboteurs succeeded, it would be a devastating blow. As the Aurora hovered above the district, Alaric's communicator buzzed. "Captain, enemy airships are approaching from the north," reported one of the lookout officers. "Prepare for engagement," Alaric ordered. "All hands to battle stations." The enemy airships appeared on the horizon, their numbers vast and intimidating. Alaric's crew stood ready, their determination unwavering. The Aurora surged forward, meeting the enemy head-on. The sky erupted into a storm of fire and steel as the two forces clashed. The Aurora's cannons blazed, tearing through enemy ranks. Alaric directed his crew with precision, ensuring they maintained the upper hand. "We can't let them break through," Alaric shouted, his voice carrying over the roar of battle. "Hold the line!" The enemy forces were relentless, their desperation driving them forward. The Aurora was surrounded, but Alaric's crew fought with unparalleled resolve. They repelled boarding attempts, dismantled enemy ships, and protected the city below. Amidst the chaos, Alaric spotted a heavily armored enemy airship pushing through their defenses. "Target that ship," he commanded. "It's their flagship." The Aurora turned its full firepower on the flagship, cannons blazing with unrelenting fury. The enemy's ship shuddered under the assault, its armor buckling and cracking. "Keep firing!" Alaric urged, his eyes fixed on the enemy vessel. With a final, thunderous barrage, the flagship exploded in a brilliant fireball, debris raining down. The enemy forces began to falter, their morale shattered with the loss of their leader. "Victory is ours!" Iris exclaimed, her voice filled with triumph. The remaining enemy ships retreated, their assault broken. The Aurora hovered over Gearhaven, victorious but wary. Alaric stood on the deck, his heart pounding with relief and determination. "We've done it," Alaric said, his voice carrying the weight of their achievement. "Gearhaven is safe." As the Aurora returned to its docking port, the crew disembarked, greeted by the cheers of Gearhaven's grateful citizens. Alaric felt a surge of pride and gratitude for his crew's bravery and dedication. Back on the Aurora, Alaric gathered his team for a final debrief. "We've faced incredible challenges and emerged victorious," he said, his voice filled with pride. "Gearhaven owes its safety to each and every one of you." The crew cheered, their spirits lifted by the hard-won victory. Alaric knew the fight wasn't over, but they had made significant strides in securing the city. "We must remain vigilant," Alaric addressed his crew. "The city depends on us. We've made great strides, but our work continues." As the Aurora soared into the clear night sky, Alaric stood on the deck, gazing out over the city he had sworn to protect. The adventure was far from over, but with his loyal crew by his side, he knew they would face whatever challenges lay ahead with unwavering resolve. The heart of Gearhaven beat strong, and Alaric Stratos was ready to defend it to the end. The clear night sky glittered with stars as the Aurora hovered above Gearhaven, a silent guardian watching over the city. Captain Alaric Stratos stood on the deck, the cool breeze a soothing contrast to the heat of battle that had raged just hours before. Gearhaven was safe, but Alaric's mind was restless. The saboteur network had been dealt a significant blow, but the true mastermind behind the attacks remained elusive. "Captain, we've received a priority message from Commander Harlan," Iris reported, her tone grave. "He wants to meet immediately." Alaric nodded, his expression serious. "Patch him through." Harlan's voice came through the communicator, tense but determined. "Stratos, we've intercepted critical intel. There's a hidden base where the saboteur leaders are regrouping. It's deep in the mountains, heavily fortified." "Coordinates?" Alaric asked, his focus sharpening. "Sending them now," Harlan replied. "This is our chance to end this once and for all. I need you to lead the assault. We'll provide ground support, but the Aurora is our best hope for breaching their defenses." "Understood, Commander," Alaric said, his resolve firm. "We'll move out immediately." The crew of the Aurora sprang into action, their movements swift and purposeful. Alaric briefed them on the mission, the gravity of their task evident in his voice. "This is it, everyone. We're going to strike at the heart of the enemy. Be prepared for anything." The Aurora ascended into the night sky, its engines roaring as it sped towards the mountain coordinates. Alaric stood at the helm, his eyes fixed on the horizon. The stakes had never been higher. As they approached the mountainous terrain, the hidden base came into view. It was a sprawling complex, built into the rugged cliffs and bristling with defenses. Searchlights scanned the skies, and anti-aircraft batteries lined the perimeter. "Scan for weak points," Alaric ordered. "We need to disable their defenses before we can launch a full assault." Iris's fingers flew over the controls, analyzing the base's layout. "There, Captain. The anti-aircraft batteries have a blind spot on the western side. If we approach from that angle, we can take them out." "Good. Set a course for the western side," Alaric commanded. "Prepare the strike team." The Aurora maneuvered into position, staying low to avoid detection. The strike team readied themselves, their expressions resolute. Alaric led them to the deck, the roar of the engines a constant reminder of the impending battle. "Deploy grappling hooks!" Alaric shouted. The hooks were fired, securing the Aurora to the cliffside. The team descended swiftly, their movements precise and coordinated. As they reached the ground, Alaric signaled for silence. They moved through the shadows, approaching the first anti-aircraft battery. The guards were taken by surprise, subdued before they could raise the alarm. "Plant the charges," Alaric instructed. The team worked quickly, placing explosives on the battery. They retreated to a safe distance, and Alaric gave the signal. The explosives detonated, a controlled blast that rendered the battery inoperable. "One down, 3 to go," Alaric said, his voice calm. "Move out." The team proceeded methodically, taking out each battery with precision and stealth. The final battery was heavily guarded, and a fierce firefight broke out. Alaric led the charge, his blade flashing as he cut through the enemy ranks. The team covered him, their coordinated attacks overwhelming the defenders. With the last battery disabled, the Aurora moved in, its cannons unleashing a barrage of fire on the base's fortifications. The ground forces, led by Harlan, advanced in tandem, breaching the outer defenses. "Push forward," Alaric commanded. "We need to reach the command center." The team fought their way through the base, the sounds of battle echoing off the cliffs. The saboteurs were determined, but Alaric's team was unstoppable. They reached the inner sanctum, a heavily fortified command center. "Set the charges on the door," Alaric ordered. The explosives were placed, and the door was blown open. Alaric and his team stormed in, their weapons at the ready. Inside, they found the saboteur leaders gathered around a large table, their faces a mix of shock and defiance. At the head of the table stood a tall, imposing figure, his eyes cold and calculating. "End of the line," Alaric said, his voice hard. "Surrender, or face the consequences." The leader smirked, his gaze unwavering. "You think you've won? This is just the beginning." Before Alaric could respond, the leader pressed a button on his wrist. The walls shook as hidden explosives detonated throughout the base. "Get down!" Alaric shouted, diving for cover. The room was filled with smoke and debris as the explosions rocked the base. Alaric's ears rang, but he pushed himself up, his focus unyielding. The saboteur leader was trying to escape through a hidden passage. "After him!" Alaric ordered, leading the chase. The passage was narrow and winding, but Alaric's determination drove him forward. He emerged into a cavernous room, where the leader was attempting to board a small, sleek airship. "Stop!" Alaric shouted, his weapon aimed at the leader. The leader turned, his eyes filled with a mix of anger and desperation. "You'll never stop us, Stratos. Gearhaven will fall." "Not today," Alaric replied, firing his weapon. The shot hit its mark, and the leader collapsed, his airship's engines sputtering to a halt. The remaining saboteurs were quickly subdued, their network finally broken. Alaric stood amidst the wreckage, his heart pounding with the adrenaline of victory. "We've done it," Iris said, her voice filled with relief. "Gearhaven is safe." Alaric nodded, a sense of satisfaction washing over him. "We've struck a major blow against our enemies. But we must remain vigilant. There will always be those who seek to harm our city." As they returned to the Aurora, Alaric reflected on the journey they had undertaken. The battles fought, the lives saved, and the unwavering resolve of his crew. They had faced incredible challenges and emerged victorious. Back on the Aurora, Alaric addressed his crew. "Today, we have secured the future of Gearhaven. Your bravery and dedication have made this possible. But our mission continues. We must always stand ready to defend our city." The crew cheered, their spirits lifted by the triumph. Alaric knew they had achieved something remarkable, but he also understood the importance of continued vigilance. As the Aurora soared into the dawn, Alaric stood on the deck, gazing out over the city he had sworn to protect. The adventure was far from over, but with his loyal crew by his side, he knew they would face whatever challenges lay ahead with unwavering resolve. The heart of Gearhaven beat strong, and Alaric Stratos was ready to defend it to the end. The dawn bathed Gearhaven in a golden light as the aurora hovered above, casting long shadows over the city's intricate network of brass and copper. Captain Alaric Stratos stood on the deck, the gentle breeze a stark contrast to the intensity of their recent battle. Gearhaven was safe for now, but Alaric knew that the shadows still held threats yet unseen. "Captain, incoming transmission from Commander Harlan," Iris reported, her voice a mix of relief and urgency. "Patch him through," Alaric replied, his expression hardening. Harlan's face appeared on the screen, his eyes weary but determined. "Stratos, excellent work taking down that base. However, we've intercepted new intel. There's another faction, more dangerous than the last, operating from within the city itself." Alaric's jaw tightened. "Do we have any leads on their location?" "Only fragments," Harlan admitted. "But they're planning something big. We need to find them before they can act." "Understood. We'll begin a citywide sweep. I'll mobilize my team immediately," Alaric said, ending the transmission. He turned to his crew, his voice steady. "Gearhaven isn't safe yet. We need to find this new threat and neutralize it. Prepare for a thorough search of the city. We're not leaving any stone unturned." The crew sprang into action, their determination evident in every movement. Alaric and Iris led the first team into the heart of Gearhaven, navigating the bustling streets and towering structures. The city's beauty was juxtaposed with the undercurrent of tension, the citizens on edge after the recent attacks. As they moved through the crowded markets and winding alleys, Alaric's mind raced. Who were these new enemies, and what were they planning? The sense of urgency drove him forward, his eyes scanning every face, every shadow. "Captain, over here," Iris called, pointing to a nondescript building nestled between two larger structures. "I've detected unusual energy readings from this location. It's worth checking out." Alaric nodded, signaling for the team to move in. They approached the building cautiously, weapons at the ready. Alaric pushed open the door, and they entered, the dimly lit interior revealing a labyrinth of rooms and corridors. "Spread out and search every room," Alaric ordered. "Look for anything suspicious." The team moved swiftly, their training evident in their methodical approach. Alaric and Iris led the way deeper into the building, the silence oppressive. Suddenly, a muffled sound caught Alaric's attention. "Did you hear that?" he whispered to Iris. She nodded, her eyes sharp. "It came from below." They found a hidden staircase leading down to a subterranean level. The air grew cooler as they descended, the dim light barely illuminating the passage. At the bottom, they found a large chamber filled with strange machinery and several figures hunched over consoles. "Looks like we've found their operations center," Alaric said quietly. "Prepare to engage." They moved swiftly, catching the saboteurs off guard. The room erupted into chaos as Alaric's team engaged the enemy. Alaric fought with precision, his blade cutting through the air as he disarmed one saboteur after another. "Secure the equipment," Alaric shouted. "We need to know what they're planning." Iris and another team member worked quickly to shut down the machinery and secure the data. One of the saboteurs, a tall figure with a menacing presence, made a desperate attempt to escape. Alaric pursued, his determination unyielding. The chase led them through narrow tunnels and hidden passages, the sounds of battle fading behind them. The saboteur was fast, but Alaric's relentless pursuit closed the gap. They emerged into an underground chamber, the saboteur cornered. "Give it up," Alaric commanded, his weapon trained on the figure. The saboteur turned, their face hidden behind a mask. "You're too late, Stratos. The plan is already in motion." "What plan?" Alaric demanded, stepping closer. A sinister laugh echoed through the chamber. "The end of Gearhaven as you know it. You can't stop us." Before Alaric could react, the saboteur pressed a hidden switch. The chamber shook violently as a hidden explosive detonated, collapsing part of the ceiling. Alaric shielded his face from the debris, his heart pounding. As the dust settled, Alaric saw the saboteur trapped under the rubble. He moved quickly, dragging the injured figure to safety. "You're not going anywhere until you tell me what's happening," he said, his voice cold. The saboteur coughed, blood trickling from their mouth. You'll never find the device in time." "What device?" Alaric demanded, shaking the figure. "Where is it?" The saboteur's eyes flickered with defiance before closing, their life slipping away. Alaric cursed under his breath, frustrated at the lack of information. "Iris, we need to find out what they were working on," Alaric said urgently, returning to the operations center. Iris was already analyzing the data they had secured. "Captain, I've found something. They've planted a device somewhere in the city. It's set to go off in a few hours. Can you determine its location?" Alaric asked, his mind racing. "I'm trying," Iris replied, her fingers flying over the controls. "There's too much interference. We need to get this back to the Aurora for a full analysis." "Let's move," Alaric ordered, leading the team back to the surface. Back on the Aurora, the data was quickly uploaded and analyzed. Alaric and Iris worked side by side, their focus intense. The clock was ticking, and they needed to find the device before it was too late. "There!" Iris exclaimed, pointing to a location on the map. "It's in the old clock tower." Alaric didn't waste a moment. "Set a course for the clock tower. All hands prepare for immediate deployment." The Aurora soared through the sky, heading towards the clock tower. The sun was setting, casting long shadows over the city. Alaric's heart pounded with urgency. This was their last chance to save Gearhaven. They reached the clock tower just as darkness fell. The structure loomed above them, a relic from a bygone era. Alaric led his team inside, the ticking of the ancient clock echoing through the halls. "Spread out and find the device," Alaric ordered. "We don't have much time." The team moved quickly, searching every nook and cranny. Alaric climbed the winding stairs, his eyes scanning for any sign of the device. The higher he went, the louder the ticking became, each second a reminder of the impending danger. Finally, he reached the top, where a large, intricate mechanism filled the room. There, hidden among the gears, was the device. It was a complex contraption, wires and explosives intricately connected. "I've found it!" Alaric shouted. "I need the bomb squad up here now." The bomb squad arrived, their expertise evident in their swift, precise movements. Alaric watched as they carefully disarmed the device, the tension palpable. "Almost got it," one of the squad members muttered, their hands steady. A final click, and the device was safely disarmed. Alaric let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. "Excellent work," he said, his voice filled with relief. "Gearhaven is safe." As they returned to the Aurora, the city below began to light up, the citizens unaware of how close they had come to disaster. Alaric stood on the deck, looking out over the city he had fought so hard to protect. Back on the Aurora, Alaric addressed his crew once more. "Today, we've faced and overcome a great threat. Your bravery and dedication have saved countless lives. Gearhaven owes you its gratitude." The crew cheered, their spirits high. Alaric knew they had achieved something remarkable, but he also knew their vigilance must never waver. As the Aurora sailed into the night, Alaric stood on the deck, the city of Gearhaven sparkling below. The adventure was far from over, but with his loyal crew by his side, he was ready for whatever lay ahead. The heart of Gearhaven beat strong, and Alaric Stratos would defend it to the end. Did you spot the golden star in today's video? If you did, make sure to comment the time you saw it to be mentioned in our next video. Thank you for sharing a moment of your day with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Really helps a lot. If you don't, well, I'll still love you. Thanks for stopping by.